I think the kids of the 70s are bridging gap between generations.
We are an adapting generation.
Our generation is working for change.
It's a generation that was truly the guinea pigs of technology.
My generation is the counselor for tomorrow.
We are the in-between.
My childhood is pretty normal. I grew up. I have the chance of. I think I have a chance of living in like a village in Yio Chu Kang area back in the days.
My childhood, I love my childhood. I miss my childhood. My childhood is fun. How to say is like my childhood. We are poor. All right. We don't have much toy to play with. So what we do is we'll go to the drain, the monsoon drain to catch fish, or going to the neighborhood to pluck flutes, or climbing trees. Basically, it's a little adventure of Tintin, a mix of adventure of Tintin and Indiana Jones kind of exploring type of adventure around this neighborhood.
Most memory part is the graveyard, which is just behind my block. It's row by row, and that's where we used to play hide and seek. And I think that's the only unique part to landmark to say about this whole area, whole village, is that graveyard.
Well, I grew up in Singapore, which everybody thinks they have a typical childhood, which is, on hindsight, not always typical. But I always grew up with, say, the maid in the house, and both my parents worked. So we would come back and there would be a maid. Sometimes my grandmother would stay with us. Children, my friends' children, would have a very different upbringing in that they have a lot more lessons, they have a lot more structured playtime, but they don't have the space to run wild, to fly kites. They're designated to places to fly kites. They don't have the parklands to, say, roam free and grub around in the dirt. All the playgrounds are covered with that evil foam. I think children have a little box in which they grow up with, and maybe one way to grow out of the box, as opposed to space to sprawl and be what they're meant to be.
I know friends who have kids and whose children have like 10 different tuition classes every weekend. I don't do that because I think that the children needs to, like Yusof especially, needs some time off away from school.
Or extracurricular activities is they go for weekly swimming classes, and they have been enjoying it a lot. They look forward to it every Friday. They will ask me, tomorrow is what day? Saturday, swimming classes, yes.
The parents in Singapore are raising their kids like want to be the president's kind of concept, where what I actually meant is they put a lot of stress in their studies, they put a lot of stress in their academic. Yeah, I have friends who the same age as my son, 8 years old. He has tuitions every day. Weekends are filled with activities, one after another one.
Kindergartens will usually put up artwork of their students, and they learned that the kindergartens where the students had beautiful artwork, where the clouds were white and the grass was green, usually had a teacher holding the child's hand to color the things in. Whereas if you have a real child drawing, the cloud might be blue and the grass might be purple, but it will look like what the child was drawing out of. There's a certain messiness or expression, and I would say that for kindergarten to sort of compress a child so that they can't express themselves, I think that says a lot about what Singapore has an issue with.
The thing about the school curriculum in Singapore, it motivates you to actually do really well in terms of grades. There is, of course, it's changing, which is good, but I think a lot of it is facts and memorizing things and all that, which we as parents are a little bit concerned. He spent he spent a good 2 years in the States, and it's a bit different there. Play is how they teach you to learn, but it's a little bit different here. It's a reversal actually.
But I am not building a normal kid. I'm trying to inspire a kid that they can change the world.
I don't think the basic value of play has changed a lot. Maybe the form of play has changed, right? I mean, I have a 8-year-old boy who would rather spend time playing video games or even like internet games and all that, rather than running downstairs. But he still get a kick from playing his video games. The same way I get a kick from making a weapon from wood and all that. So I think the value of play have not changed dramatically. I think the essence is still the same.
By just sitting in MRT, you will know what is the new thing, right? 2 years ago, everyone's with an iPhone. 2 years later, everyone's with a Note 2. So you kind of know, right? So it's like kids, the same with kids, right? How many kids you see running around with a toy in their hand? 5 years ago, you're gonna have a lot of kids running with toys in their hand. Now, 5 years later, you have a lot of kids running on iPhones in their hands, or iPods in their hands, or Samsung's like the big thing now, right? So everyone has like a Note 2 and they're playing around games. So yeah, I think Steve Jobs changed how kids play. It's quite funny, right?
My mom, she don't really have activities or hobby because she started work at a very young age. I help out with my grandfather in his plantation, okay, and every time she finish, she told me that she's tired, she just go back, told me that she's tired, take good care of them. So I try to just to spend time, just even like half an hour or maybe 15 minutes, just to spend time, just to play with them.
But I think playtime is something that I take very seriously, and everyone needs it, because you need to be able to get away from the rigors of life and just lock yourself into doing something else. And I think everyone should take the time to it. And a lot of it is engineered now. I think a lot of playtime is engineered. I think true playtime involves just you and your hobby.
I'm an extremist. It's like facing there. The other thing is, my bicycle there, my quota for cycling is already up. Why? I went for a charity ride from Singapore to Thailand, 4 days, 1,000 kilometers, and I am an amateur. Yeah, I play that way.
I wish I can always, you also sometimes come to me and like, if you have time, Daddy, you always start with that, which to me is very heartbreaking. So I wish I had more time. I think you can always shower your children with toys and all that, but I think they did more than that. They did you, to be honest.